tGrass is a tournament organizer that is currently running some of the best online brackets you've ever seen. His long-running series, Guilty Grassroots, has some fierce competition. I felt like this was a great time to get a tournament organizer's perspective on all things fighting games. In this episode, we talk about how tGrass started hosting tournaments, the future of the scene, and why Melee is devastating to your hands. All of this and more on the Crossup. Hello everyone, welcome to the Crossup. I'm joined here with tGrass. tGrass, how you doing, man?
What is good? It's a long time coming. I'm doing well. What's up, Lumi? How are you?
You love to see. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm doing good as well. Thank you for asking.
No problem.
So let's get right into it. The first question I ask, a Crossup tradition, okay? What does the name tGrass mean to you specifically?
I've watched a lot of episodes, but I don't really actually have an answer. The name tGrass means, I don't know, I guess when people think of my name, I would think of like a tournament series, and the name tGrass itself is very literal. It's literally just my first name, Tom. My last name has the word grass in it, tGrass. But I feel like people think of me, or I guess when they think of my name, they think of like, hey, it's the tournament guy.
Sure, yeah, Mr. T.O., man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, T.O. Grass.
Yeah. So, okay, but how exactly did you come up with the name tGrass? You mentioned that there was your name involved.
Right, yeah.
Is there any more to it?
I started playing Super Smash Bros. Melee competitively in January of 2014 or January of 2015 is when I started actually going to locals after practicing for a while. And like, bro, every online username I've ever had has been so cringe. It's been so cringe and I hate them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to make something that's like way less like Darkstalker XX.
I gotta put you on the hot seat.
Underscore.
I gotta put you on the hot seat for a second. Can you give me an example? Was it like how bad?
I've had usernames before that were like, you know, like Deathstroke and some numbers.
Okay.
My Xbox Live gamer tag was like Dangerous One, but my dad made that for me when I was like 13 or 14 when we got a second Xbox. But I never really picked online usernames. And I was like really getting into everything then. Like I had just got a Discord and everything. And like I didn't know any of the stuff I wanted to do. And I was like, I have to pick a name right now. And I was like, what's easy? I was just like, my brother, I kind of stole from my brother because he picked he started making usernames that are like the grassy one or something like that, or like in the grass, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I could take the grass thing. And then I was like messing around with it and kind of just settled with tGrass, and then lowercase t, capital G looked cool. And I was like, all right, we're there because that's simple and easy. And I don't really care if people call me by my gamer name. You can call me by my real first name anyways.
Sure, yeah. Interesting story. And, was it intentional? Because, there's a lot of talk in the fighting game community about keeping the grassroots alive. Was that intentional at all, or did it just work out?
At first, it wasn't. But then I started running. I went from going to tournaments to running tournaments, and it kind of just perfectly worked there. I didn't really know what grassroots tournaments meant at first, which was funny, and then it kind of just worked out. And then I ended up making my own online tournament series, and we were like, oh, I'm just gonna call it Grassroots because it's like a pun in a pun on a pun inside of another pun, and it kind of just stuck. It's a very easy name, very flexible name.
You'd love to see it when stuff just worked out like that.
Yeah, it was like, oh, what are we gonna name the tournament series? I could name it like the Dragon Ball Online East Coast, blah blah blah. I was like, let's just make it Grassroots. It's a grassroots tournament ran by the grass guy. Everybody remember it.
So, I guess, would you say that keeping it Grassroots is a part of your brand, or is that more or less just the naming convention?
It kind of is, because I like being authentic, especially in things I present for other people. I kind of think that tournaments are like a service for the community. So I want them to be as authentic as possible, because I've been in the scene now 8 years. 8 years. And I've seen a lot of things come into the scene where it's kind of just outside companies fighting game tournaments and everything is very easy. Let's just throw money and be super bullshit about it. And it never works out. So I think a real serious level of authenticity goes a long way. I never have accepted anything I've had some offers, but I've never accepted anything that was too big for something, or something that I feel like would take advantage of people that I'm providing a service for. So I guess it started out as a name, but it kind of is like an ideology at the same time.
Sure. Yeah, I can clearly see that from the content you make. You know, I almost did sort of like an on-site sort of deal when I was actually working with you at least once for Guilty Grassroots. Honestly,
Right.
just to see how it's run, and I gotta say, we'll get into that a little later. But you run a tight ship, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think running tournaments, there's a lot of really shittily run tournaments, to be completely honest. And like, I really think about it from a player perspective, because, you know, as far as a TO, I also have joined my own tournaments. And like, if things aren't run the right way, or things are like a pain in the ass on my end, like I want to get rid of as much of that as possible, because nobody likes to wait. You know, everyone likes things to flow. I don't like keeping people all night. Like the stream and everything that comes along with it. Like, I just want to keep everything flowing. If it's good for people watching and it's good for the players and it's easy for the TOs, then everybody's happy and nobody can complain.
So I want to rewind a little bit because, you know, we're talking about the T and tGrass. Spent some time as a Melee player, right? You know, the cast of Melee can be, you know, kind of do some crazy stuff. There's a lot of crazy stuff in that game. Is there a particular character that you saw in bracket that you would just want to spike your controller?
Yeah, dude. I fucking hate Sheik. I hate Sheik players. I hate Sheik players with a passion.
Everyone.
Like you could be the nicest person on the planet. You literally like give me $100 like after we play a set, and like I could not care because you play Sheik. I have always struggled against that character, and I never liked playing Sheiks. I tried playing like 8 different characters to try and play against Sheik players, and like it was always a shit show.
Is there a particular reason as to why you don't like Sheik?
Sheik is like Melee Karen.
Okay, from Street Fighter 5?
Yeah, Sheik is Melee Karen. Like, Sheik plays kind of defensive, wants to get you in like throws and make you play like you have to like use your different like wake up and defensive options to get out of like the throw tech chase kind of situation. And Sheik is very defensive. Like, you jump in on Sheik, you get forward tilted. It's almost like a true anti-air in that game. Or like you try and come down on them, they up tilt you and like have really solid close mid-range buttons. Like, they struggle from long range Sheik because like everything else there is committal. But when I played a lot of characters that were very aggressive, and a lot of the ways I played the game were very aggressive. So like, I almost was like perfect to, like, I was like I was meant to be weak against Sheik. She's such a bait heavy character. And man, I hate that character. I hate that character so much. I'm trying to game. Like, I'm just trying to do cool shit and game. Like, I'm trying to do something that someone who's watching, if someone happens to be watching the set, be like, that thing you did, that was sick.
I didn't pay $60 to block.
Exactly, bro. Especially in Melee, it's like especially when, you know, I played a character with a frame 1 invincible wake up. Like, you know, I'm gonna be hitting the buttons. That's it.
I'm starting to see like a pattern with the characters that you pick. There's usually some sort of strong wake up option.
Yeah, I like strong wake up options on characters. Yeah, I try not to overly use them, but like in a game like Melee, where like you can get hit as you get up, like having a frame 1 invincible move is very, very strong. Plus, like, those characters go fast, and that's what I was trying to go fast.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
Also, how your hands doing after like all that Melee? Did you come up with any?
You know, it's funny. I actually had some hand pain for a few years. Mostly when I played Fox, but also the problem is that I have like gamer hand when I play Melee, is that I like grip the controller super tight, and I play and I squeeze super hard, and like I have big palms and small fingers, which is like really weird for hands. So like my hands are like so wrapped around the controller that it was kind of a pain. Like, I would get like weird pains like back here and like over here in my hands from just like grabbing everything so hard for such long a time, because like I'll play fighting games for a few hours, but like there were legit days where like I would go over to my friend's house and we would play Melee for like 14 hours straight and just stop to eat. Yeah, it's such a fun game to practice.
That's awesome, dude. And you know, you were talking about sort of your origin in the scene. You said that Melee was like your game.
Yeah.
How exactly do you transition from competing in Melee to helping run and then running your own tournaments?
I Melee's my intro into competitive fighting games, but
Sure.
I have like a weird thing with it because I always played fighting games growing up, playing with my cousin, my brother, some of my brother's friends. Like, not a lot of my friends really played fighting games, but I always liked to play them. But I always knew that my birthday's in July, and Evo used to be every July on my birthday weekend. And I had no idea what Evo was or anything was like that. But every weekend of my birthday each year, I would look on Twitch for Melee to be being played because I thought it was cool and would watch that. But then I ended up watching like other stuff. Like, I didn't know at the time, but I was watching Guilty Gear. I was watching Street Fighter 4. I was watching stuff like that. And it kind of like, I always thought those things are cool, but like, I didn't own a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 4, or I didn't play on my PlayStation 4. And, you know, I wasn't really focused on playing those games because, again, none of my friends played those games. But, you know, I got into Smash just because it was so easy and accessible. And everyone's like, I played Smash as a kid. And I went to my local, and the guy who was the TO, we ended up like staying past when everything was closed, who I actually literally went to his wedding like 2 months ago. He kind of just went to there, and he was really big into Project M. My scene was really big into Project M, and he was like, I'll teach you guys how to play the game. And I was like, you know, it's kind of fun to like run these things. I liked like taking the lead and like doing that kind of stuff like very naturally. Mm-hmm. And it went from like just hanging out and helping out to being like approached one day, him being like, hey, so like we're making the thing a little bigger and we're going to a new venue, so like we need more people. Do you want to be a TO? And I was like, yes, sure. Like, I also like, I don't have to pay venue when I come in. Absolutely. I was already helping out, so you know, save me an extra $5-10 every week, especially because I was in high school and I worked like a really shitty job.
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely, I'll save every dollar I can. I think I was making like $12 an hour, if that. And I was like, right? That's like half an hour right there, man. That's like a full day's hour as an entrance into a Melee tournament. I'll save what I can.
Yeah, when I was working in high school, I was completely reliant on tips. So inconsistent.
Dude, I worked at Firehouse Subs, which is basically like, for people who don't know, pretty much like a Jimmy John's or like what's the other one? Better Subway. Yeah, more people work at that kind of thing. It's like a hot sandwich place, but like, dude, that shit sucked. That shit sucked. I think about it all the time. Like, yeah, why was I doing that?
I'm not a big food industry guy myself. I mean, I was a busser. I was a pizza delivery guy.
I worked food industry because it was my like first real job. But like, at one time in my life a few years ago, I was like, I could work food service again. I went back to a job for like 2 weeks, and I was like, I fucking hate this. I don't know how I ever did this. I hate this so much. I have to get away from this like now. Like, you smell like the food when you get home, and you get nauseous around it and everything. Like, nah, I was good on that.
Working at a pizzeria almost ruined pizza for me. It's like kind of mind-boggling as a New Yorker. I'm sure you can relate.
Dude, I don't know what it is. I work right next to a pizzeria, and I eat lunch there like almost every day now. Just like grab like a slice or whatever. But like, I don't know what it is with pizza. It can't be ruined for me. It's good every time. Every time. Like, you can get a regular slice every day, and that shit could taste a little bit different, and you can eat it a little different, and like, it always is just a good time. I can talk about pizza forever.
Yeah, we can get nerdy with this because it's modular, bro. Like, you could put the toppings.
Bro, yeah. Every slice and how you approach it is what changes about pizza. And you can go to a pizzeria and get not even pizza. You can get like pasta or a pinwheel or a calzone or a chicken or a hero. You know, there's so many options. Like, pizza isn't a one-dimensional food. All right.
Absolutely. We're approaching the pizzeria iceberg, so I want to like veer off.
Right.
We get a Titanic situation going here. But looking back at all of this stuff, like, would you ever think you would be in a position that you were in right now?
I mean, I don't personally think I'm in like a giant position. Some people are like, oh, you're such a big part of the insert community here, or you were such a big part of insert community there. And like, I don't know, I kind of just like hosting things for players because like I just always appreciated people who did it for me, so I wanted to do it for more people. And As far as like content creation goes, like, do I ever think I'd be in this position? It's hard to say because, like, genuinely, it's like my dream to be a content creator. Like, I grew up in early high school watching Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter every day. Like, when I was in high school, like, I literally told people, like, I want to be Ray Navarez Jr. when I grow up because he does exactly what I do, what I want to do. He just does cool stuff and he's funny and has a good time.
I could totally relate to that. I always wanted to do you. It was always like some sort of inachievable dream.
Yeah, and like everyone, like people I feel like our age are a little bit different than people who now, because everyone has an iPhone. You can do everything like super easy and like whatever. But like, yo, I owned a Hauppauge HD PVR. What the fuck you know about that?
Yes.
What the fuck you know about that?
Yes. Yeah, I was talking to the guy. I bought it at PAX East. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, so like, you into gaming? Like, are you actually into gaming? Like, what do you do? Like COD?" And I was like, "No, I was gonna record like Dark Souls videos." And he was like, "Oh, whoa!" Like, so back then when Dark Souls was like, "Shh, don't talk about it." Like, Souls is crazy hard, you know, that kind of stuff. Now it's memed on. But yeah, I remember my first couple of videos just being like Dark Souls. Oh my god,
dude! Like, I wanted to post for so long, and like I still have this fear now, and we've talked about it in private before, but about like fear of posting and not like getting like the, you know, recognition you think something deserves, or like having someone hate on something that you put a lot of time and effort into. But like at the same time, like, I don't know, when I got the like a computer finally, because I never had a computer really until like late high school, and I had like the most, like, my friends were giving me parts that were like half broken out of their computers, and my shit would blue screen once a week, but it was a working computer. It was a desktop. Like, I was like, as soon as I can figure out how to like make videos and stuff like that, like there was like a 50-50 shot if my computer would crash during rendering a video. I was just trying to put something out there. Was it good? No, but it was stuff that didn't exist, and like I felt like accomplished doing it. And you know, I always wanted to stream too, and like my computer would just die when I did stuff like that. But like I just wanted it. I wanted it so bad, so I just tried to make it happen.
So, tGrass, you started your YouTube channel a little over a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. And for those of you that are new and not aware, why don't you kind of sell them, give them a pitch on what exactly your channel is about?
I'd like to say that my channel has gone through seasons. It's very, I feel like it's very few steps past the prototype phase of where it was. I've been posting on YouTube since 2014, but like you will never find any of that stuff unless you have very, very unlisted links that only very certain people will have inside very certain communities that I won't say because I don't want people to see them. But the elevator pitch, I guess, for my YouTube channel going forward, I would like to say is the O2ers podcast is like the main thing I really like to do. It's been cool. Me and KRC Pinto kicking it. I want to do more video essay stuff, and that's like I've done one or two in the past, and they've been interesting. And I kind of just want to make videos celebrating the community and the games that we all play and stuff like that. But I think in the past, most of my content has been a lot of educational stuff. I find myself to be a pretty decent teacher when it comes to stuff like that. You know, a lot of stuff based around tournaments and matches, and a little bit of storytelling in there, but you know, I feel like I'm starting to really create my mold of what I want to be. It's kind of just putting pen to paper right now is the part where I'm at.
I think that's the perfect way. Very well said. Because, you know, as I was kind of looking through the catalog for this interview, I kind of realized that there's ideas that may stick, ideas that might go, but you're kind of growing. And I guess the audience watching, you get to kind of just see in real time tGrass sort of evolve his content, which is super exciting to see.
Yeah, it's been, I think saying things in seasons has definitely been a thing. It's like to start as a creator, like I don't know, like you don't know what to post, but you're gonna post something, and you're like, oh, this does well, but I don't really like making this, but this doesn't do that well, but I really like making this. But there's somewhat of an audience here for that. Like, what if I refine this and work towards it? Can I change the audience? Can I grow that audience? Does that audience exist, but I haven't reached them yet? Like, there's a lot of variables in it, and like, you know, when it comes to something specifically like YouTube, like I love the site, but man, can you feel very lost in the algorithm? Like you can feel like I put so much time and effort, and people will say like if there's good content, people will find it, and you're like, I just don't know where I missed the mark here, you know? Or like you'll have a video where you're like, this is a throwaway, and you're like, why does it have 10,000 views? I don't understand.
This is why I think comments are very important. A like and a subscribe is perfectly fine, but if someone shares their thoughts on a video and takes the time out of their day to explain either what worked or what didn't work respectfully, that's invaluable.
It really is. Like, you know, I had that video essay I posted on TikTok that was like an older video, and then I was like so upset it didn't get the views it wanted. I had so many people like DMing me and commenting on TikTok, commenting on YouTube, being like, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe this has no views. Why does this not have enough views? Like, this is such a good video. And I'm, you know, like people, when you leave a comment like that, especially on someone who's a smaller creator, I would say someone like 10,000 subs or less, like they will look at your comment. That person is nearly guaranteed to at least take a peek. They may not heart it, they may not like it, they may not reply it, but those words are being read. That is in their brain. And like, that is like the best feedback you can give someone, is to like land on a video and like watch it all the way through, or watch part of it and being like, I really like this part, or it's like, I like this idea, but I wasn't too keen on this part later on because of this reason. Like, that is so invaluable. It's a resource that like you literally have to, I guess, like earn from people, but people don't really make comments on YouTube videos anymore. But I don't know. When you hit like a comment and someone's like, dude, I love this video, I'm so happy it got recommended to me, you're like, I'm doing something right. Yeah. Like, clearly there's like this guy's speaking for more people, you know? Like, there's enough people watching this, but this guy or girl like took their time out of their day to be like, this is great and I like this thing, so you should keep doing this thing. And it's like people like the video, like the comment, and you're like, oh, there's like a community behind that. Not everyone's passionate enough to speak their voice, but there are people that agree with the opinion.
Sure. And you know, I think we can even break that down further into what you said is that person, right? I think it's more apparent when you leave a comment that is a person, as opposed to a number like a like or subscriber. Right? I
agree. Yeah, you get a username and you get to see, like, you know, like I've done it before. If someone like has commented on multiple videos or like left like a really, really heartfelt comment on a video, I'll look through their YouTube channel. If they have like public things available, like, oh, do they create content? Oh, what are the things they like? Who are they subscribed to? It's like, I've had people who have like barely watched fighting games like sub to me, Maximilian, and like JM Crofts, and I'm like, my name is next to those two people. That's crazy. Like, wow, like I must be doing something really right if my name is next to those people. If I've earned the sub from someone who only likes these specific things in the community.
100%. Now, let me ask you this. How was that, because we talked about sort of like your seasons, how was that journey like for you? Did you want to highlight any like ups, downs, or any revelations you had during that journey, during those seasons?
You know, there was like a weird era during the middle of Dragon Ball where everyone was just posting gameplay of like, you know, like me versus like player in the community. That's when people know. I'm like doing really well with it. And I was posting similar stuff to that and like not doing well with it. And I was just like, what am I doing wrong? And then I was like posting some videos where it's like me playing ranked, but it's like telling a story while I play ranked. And like, you know, I talked about like, you know, there's a video on my YouTube channel called like Master Chief was my college professor, where I tell a story about one of my college professor while I play Dragon Ball, which I liked stuff like that. But like, I realized at some point that like, I don't care to upload ranked unless the things that are happening outside the game are so funny. Like if like myself, you, Phil, Floki, like jumped on some 4-player game and played it, and like, you know, whatever, we played super serious, like that would be boring. But if the 4 of us are just like ripping into each other and having a good time, I'd feel more likely to post something like that, because like there is something more than like the let's play part of it, like that's important to it. Yeah, it's something I would watch. Like I would watch like 4 friends play a game. Like I find it very similar to something like Yo Video Games, where it's like, I don't really care if they play like NBA Street or whatever, or if they play Mario Party, but like when they when one of them wins and they start screaming at the top of their lungs and the other ones run out of the room, I think that shit's so funny. Like stuff like that. Like the interaction is what I care about more than I care about like whatever they're playing with. It's like Monster Hunter or Dragon Ball or Tekken or whatever it is.
Totally. So content creation has been a little serious for you. You have that podcast with KRC Pinto called the O2ers. I heard from a birdie that he has you waking up at ungodly hours to record. So, curious, have you performed any sort of morning routines or rituals to help you get in the zone for the O2ers podcast? Or do you just kind of go right in cold turkey?
I find myself to be a person that if I think about something a lot, I either fabricate what I'm supposed to do and it's not authentic, or it's not what I want it to be, where I'm way better, where it's just like, we're going to do the podcast, hit the start button, and we're like, what's the topic? Oh, we're talking about Street Fighter. Let's just, what's going to pop into my brain? Like, we're going to talk about it, that kind of thing. It's kind of been the way I've felt success, is not by being super like routine based or anything like that. Like I say, like I really would like to be on a routine, but if it's too strict, I will like get in my own head about things. But as far as the O2ers go, there have been days where like he's like, yeah, we got to record like 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday, and I'm like, all right. I roll out of bed at 7:15, wash my hair, grab a cup of coffee, and let's fucking do the thing. Let's just like run it up. Like I was like, I'd rather just like record and wake up mid-episode than than never get the episode out and record it. Like I'll make the sacrifice. Or like there was even like a similar kind of things where waking up early. There was a time period in my life which is like, it was bad for myself, where I was like waking up in the morning at 7 a.m, streaming Dragon Ball till 11, going to class, going to work, coming home, streaming again, stuff like that. Or like waking up or like going to work in the morning, going to class after, streaming when I get home, or working like a 10-hour day, coming home and streaming, and then editing after, and stuff like that. Like stuff where I was just like, if I don't do this right now, I'm never gonna do it. So let me just hammer it into my head. Like I'm just do it right now. Like if I'm just gonna not, like I always just say like, say to myself like, don't be a bitch. You just do it. Like just do it. Dude. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm that. Like as soon as I hit like the start streaming button, it can be 7 a.m. I'm like, let's go. I'll like rip into like the content mode and just a full send. I'm just like
very similar, so I can totally relate to that.
I am my own worst enemy when it comes to a lot of things, but also at the same time, I am my best ally when it comes to things. If I like open up the OBS and hit start streaming, and I'm like, oh no, self, I hit start streaming. Oh geez, oh god, and then I'm like, well, time to go into content mode. Here we go. Yeah, I have to like trick myself. It's a very weird thing, but like my brain and body are an eternal war, I guess.
You find what works, and it's unorthodox, but it works for you.
Yeah, I've always there's like a bunch of people who are like, "Yo, how do you get this done, or how do you get that done in certain periods of my life?" And I'm like, "God, don't ask me. Please don't ask me, because what I'm doing is horrible."
Don't bring those demons up, bro.
Yeah, there was like time periods, especially during like Christmas season, when I used to work in the mall, where like I would work from like 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. and I would like still wake up in the morning, stream, go to class, and then go to work, come home at 3 a.m., sleep for 4 hours, wake up, do it all again.
Wow. You were really about that, and you know what? I think it shows over time. You've grown.
I had this weird momentum going about me where I was like, if I don't keep up right now, like when I first started to build an audience and people were starting to get to know me, if I was like, if I don't keep up right now, like I can lose everything. So I have to just keep going, stay on the treadmill, keep running. I don't care if my legs are tired, I have to keep running, kind of thing.
Looking back at that now, do you realize maybe that's probably not the best way to tackle it? Or
I think it worked for a short amount of time, but for how long I did it, it definitely put long-term backlash on my body and like stress and things, and like gave me a wrong idea of how like this should work on a bigger picture, instead of being more like planned and like, you know, like scheduled out, and have things like pre-recorded, pre-edited and all that stuff, and like, you know, taking time out of one day that you're off instead of going out with friends and like, you know, working on stuff to make it so that the rest of the week isn't like go. it definitely was a lot of hurt, and like I kind of had to change like almost everything about it. Like I'm a little bit more MIA now. I barely ever really stream right now. I'm not too happy with the platform as a whole, and I feel that if I have nothing to stream, I shouldn't stream. But and I should be doing it for other things, which I was doing really good for a while, but I got to get back on the horse with that. But that's a whole different thing. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it now. I treat myself more like hey, you're an adult, you have life, you have work, you have a significant other, you have a family. Like you can't just be like go all the time. Plus now my body beats the shit out of me for it. Like I got back pains, I got Crohn's disease. Like my body's like, hey, remember when you were trying to ignore me? Fuck you.
How do we get him to stop? Just
give him a chronic illness. Yeah, he'll have it for the rest of his life. It'll make him slow down. They're like, okay, immune system, attack his stomach now. Go.
Well, I'm happy that we sort of took a step back and we're a little bit healthier with that, because
it was impossible to keep it up forever. It was only a matter of time, and like it kind of just everything happened at once, and I was like full shutdown. Everything went away, and I was like, got to teach myself to get back on the horse one step at a time. And like I don't even think I'm fully there yet, but I think this year I'm getting myself more prepared to do everything more seriously again. Which I am excited about, but like I said, pen to paper has got to happen for me. I want to create more. I just have to create. Things have to go from want to do, pretty much.
And if they think of me now and then, if they don't forget me, then our hearts will be warm.
Do you think that tournament organizing is a thankless job? Is there anything you would change about it currently?
I think I've gone through a few different stages of it, because I went from hosting offline events where like I wouldn't say it's so much more thankless there, because when it's at the small level, people are like, hey man, thanks for doing it. Like, let me carry a TV around for you. Let me set up the Wii for you. And you're like, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I've been here already 5 hours today. It's like, haven't even had a cup of coffee or anything to eat. Or people being like, yo, I'm going to run next door. You want a drink? Those kinds of things. Like, it's the small things like that I used to really like. When it came to like transitioning to being more online focused, there are people who will straight up DM me or, say post in Discord or in chat, like, thank you for the tournament. It's always great to watch. It's always great to enter, blah, 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 which is nice. But it feels like a thankless job because you're just so tired after. And like a lot of the time, like by the time people are saying thank you to you, your brain's fried for the night and you're like, this is just words right now. But it's the long-term stuff that people thank you for that make you feel like you're leaving a good positive impact on the community. So it's thankless in the short term, but like if things like, I used to run Dragon Ball tournaments and like I used to never really hear thank yous and stuff like that for it with the online. And then like, a year later, people were like, I miss tGrass net play tournaments. They were fun. They were ran well. Like we had a good time. Everything was good. And I was like, like if people are missing something that I'm doing, like that's clearly a thank you. Like they didn't have to say it. Like people were enjoying it. And, that's more than enough for me.
Hey, and I think that's great to hear because sometimes hear people talk, and I'm going to talk about tournament organizers. I'm just talking about people in general, where they're just like, oh yeah, you know what, F you should have just been grateful at that time.
Right, you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah. Kind
of thing.
And people don't know. I tried my best to immerse myself in the sort of TO world. I went to a local, I asked the TOs a bunch of questions, right? I ran a couple of online tournaments, like 2 or 3, just to see how that experience was. I volunteered for Grassroots to see how it's run in a massive scale. And there's a lot going on. Is there something you want to share with players or people outside of this sort of realm of the FGC to sort of give insight?
Yeah, I think that people just think that TOing is like the day of the event kind of thing, where it's like, unless things are very streamlined, like having a weekly that is the same thing and only the same thing, like Guilty Grassroots is only Guilty Gear on a certain day of a certain week at a certain time, always. So it makes it easier to do things, but like running something like a local, it is so hard to do. It takes months and months to even get in with a venue. Like there was like time periods where like we're going around to every comic book, every gaming store, everything, and within like 25 miles and being like, hey, I do this thing. We've done a bunch of stuff for the community, and like we can make some business for your store. Can we get into a meeting and talk about like logistics and money? And like it's a lot of money spending on stuff that you'll never get back. Like overall, as a TO throughout the last 8 years, I've got to say I must have spent at least $10,000 on tournaments that I've never seen come back. Like that's not the part where I think it's like thankless, but it's the part people don't realize is that people are like, oh, you know, this part of the community makes money and this part of the community makes money. Is that like you only see it when people make the money, but like there are so many people, I'm mostly pre-COVID, that are going out of their way and buy multiple PS4s and multiple copies of games and monitors and bring things to venues and then give venues money so that you guys can come and spend $5 to give back to the TO to maybe mitigate some loss to like have your event every week, every bi-weekly, every monthly. Like there are so many moving parts. It literally is a job that you can never clock out for. Like there were time periods where like, you know, it's like day of the event, you have all that stuff that goes on in the normal event stuff, right? Then the next day you got wrap up, talk to people, talk to venue again, see if you can come back next week. Then the day after that, you got promos starting, reminders, inviting, figuring out carpools for rides. You have to pick up people from the train. You have to figure out if you can get off from work. Do you have like, you know, oh, there's a problem with the venue. Maybe we have to start an hour late. We have to adjust the whole schedule. We have to create the Smash GG. We have to create the Facebook page when we were doing that. We have to create the the Smashboards page. We had to do all that stuff. Like, all that stuff was getting created like one day after another. It's like you come home from your 9 to 5 and you're like, hey, I got to call the venue. Can we come through this week? No, we can't. Okay, well, let's see if we can find a different venue, or can someone else host a session instead at someone's house so we can all just get together and play again. And then like you go to these events and like if it was like a session where you're not necessarily hosting again, but you're telling people like, hey, show up at this guy's house at this guy's time, like you like get to sit back and people are like, oh man, like this is so easy. Isn't it always so easy to do this? And you're like, no, like I'm literally just drove like 30 miles to this kid's house with 10 CRTs and 10 Wii's in my trunk. And like, like it's a lot of work and it never ends. And it's just, it's stressful. Not a lot of people can do it. A lot of people think they can do it. It's not a lot of people who can really do it.
Yeah. So I agree with that completely, that it's a skill and that not a lot of people can do it. So maybe can we talk about and maybe outline, I know you mentioned it before, but what are some skills that you think a person would need in order to properly run a tournament and run it well? Because I think it's also important to run a tight ship, as you've proven yourself.
I think you have to be someone who is okay with doing a lot of things for people and never getting anything back. I think you have to be okay with like always having this revolving schedule and never really getting to like clock out or anything. I think you need to be like really great with customer service from like a regular business standpoint, but also just be a genuine people person. Like if you're like a grouch and no one wants to come to your local, if you're like an asshole, you're like, oh, you're 5 minutes late for bracket, we're going to DQ you and take your money and stuff like that. You have to just like be very empathetic for people and like understand that like all the heat that will get like thrown at you is like something you just have to take. Like you can get, you know, all these different things from players and spectators and stream watchers and venues. Like everyone ends up yelling back at you, and it's just like you have to be able to mentally take that kind of thing, and you have to be really strong-headed to understand everything that's going on all at once.
You know, I feel like a lot of people just outside to be this one big entity, and once you get inside, it's like, ooh, that's not the case. There's like 5 different tribes.
Right? Even more than that, right?
Yeah,
like,
of course, yeah.
It's like you walk in through the main door of a building, and then there's 10 doors in front of you, and then inside those doors, there's 2 more doors, or 3 more doors, or 4 more doors, and you're just like, it's like, I like fighting games. Oh, I like Smash. Inside Smash. Oh, there's like 5 Smash games. Oh, I like this Smash. It's like, oh, I like singles or doubles. I like doubles more. Let me go to this door. It's like, oh, I only like playing online, so let me go to this door and going in that. So you're going through door, sub-community to sub-community to sub-community to sub-community to find like the real nitty-gritty of all of that. Like, it's people were like, "Oh, the FGC." It's like you don't even like know like half the games people are playing. Like, you know, all those like tournaments that have all these crazy side brackets, like, you know, like Shaq Fu or Def Jam or like Naruto GTN 4 or any of that stuff. Like, all of these things are part of the community, and like you could just be like, I like Street Fighter. I don't know what any of that stuff is.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, there's people who play Smash who like when they used to come to our locals and be like, what is that game? We're like, what? That's Tekken. And they're like, what is it? It's like MMA, but like way more whimsical and like ridiculous. And people are like, that's so cool. How do I play? I'm like, do you own a PS4? They're like, no. Do you own a PC? They're like, no. They're like, then you're coming here to come play it. Like, that's it. Like, this is the only time you're gonna get to play is to come here. And then like, you know, like these doors, they interconnect at some point, right? There's people that play a lot of different games together, but like it's so niche inside of niche to get where you like in the scene or where people that you like are. It's a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot. Now I'm starting to think of like the FGC as like a mall. Right?
Yeah, it is kind of like a mall.
Different stores.
It's like or you could even just think of it like a strip mall, like literally like there's like one big parking lot, but there's 10 different stores inside, and those stores all sell different things, and some of them sell more than one thing. And like, you know, how can you go about that? Like, oh, there's a restaurant, but right next to it there's like a Walgreens, and right next to that Walgreens is like an Old Navy, and like all these things are so different. They're right next to each other, and like it's like, oh, the guys from Old Navy go to the restaurant. The guys from the restaurant shop at Old Navy for their clothes. It's like, whoa, all of it interconnects.
Yeah, and then sometimes they play cards behind the dumpster, which is supposed to be the Melty Blood bracket, right?
right.
Yeah. So, you know, that's actually a really good analogy, and I hope, you know, some of the people in the community sort of take home some of the messages that we've explained so far, that you know, we don't want to constantly harp on players and other people that don't think the TOs, because quite frankly, it's one of those things where it might not just come to your mind immediately. It's not super obvious to do so. So, to answer the question, yes and no. Is it a thankless job? Sometimes, but it's rewarding, especially if you're a part of that community.
Yeah, I think it's like the similar thing as like everyone's like, oh, Street Fighter 5 is a bad game. Like, haha, point and laugh at Street Fighter is like, it's like a meme at that. Like, it's like a meme, but it's kind of serious at the same time, where it's like people have legitimate gripes with something, so like they don't like it. But it's the same thing as like, yeah, it's the thankless job. But it's like, yo, there are so many other thankless jobs in this scene. There are so many other thankless jobs. There's way more than the thankless jobs and there are like thankful jobs. Most of the time, the people who get thanked are the people who win stuff. They're like, thanks for playing so well and putting out a good time. And even at that point, that's not always true too. Because sometimes you could win a tournament and be like, you're carried, you're trash, why you jumping? Like,
or if you're using a low tier, it's like no one knows the matchup. You're just cheap. Right. Like, you're just cheesing
and blah blah blah. It's a fluke. It's just like, you can't make everybody happy, especially not in a scene that is so diverse but yet so connected at the same time. Like, you got people like quote retweeting something about Dragon Ball, and it's like, bro, you don't even play that game. Like, what are you talking about? Or like, you know, like every like average Twitter goer is like, oh, fucking Smash players and shit like that. It's like, bro, you don't even play that. You're not even in that subgenre of the community. You're just literally talking out of your ass. You don't know what's going on. You ain't even shopped in that store before. They got great sales.
You can't afford that store, first of all.
Yeah, facts. Bro, you can't even afford to play Grand Blue. Them DLCs be like $14.99 for one character, 3 costumes, and a sword. That's it.
Now, answer me this. What do you think would be like the footlock of FGC?
Foot Locker, as in like, you know, having like exclusive things and stuff like that, like shoes and like drops and things.
Yeah.
Foot Locker FGC. As far as a game goes, Foot Locker of the FGC. I don't know. There's not a lot of limited time stuff ever in fighting games. I guess like Dragon Ball has some of that stuff where it's not like, it's like very small collectibles that don't really matter for in-game stuff. Or like there's some of the colors that are like that, but something that's like a bit more exclusive and high end. I don't know yet. I don't think we have a Foot Locker, to be honest. I think we have a lot of Walmarts. We have a Walmart and Costco and BJ's, you know?
Yes.
We have all 3 of those.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't. It's not like we don't have like a Chanel or a Coach inside the
We
scene.
don't have a
either.
Gucci
Like,
store.
yeah, we don't have a Gucci store. I feel like sometimes people think Street Fighter's the Gucci store, and then it's like, yeah, I don't know about that. That's like the Fuji store, then, you know?
The Fuji. That's like the street in like Chinatown.
Yeah, right. Where you're like, oh, you got a Coach handbag? You're like, no, bro, this Foch. Like, it's the same thing though.
Yeah. This is kind of a broad question, but I'm curious as to your insights, you know, being a TL yourself. What do you think the future of tournament organizing is? And do you think it's going to be called EOs now, event organizing?
As far as when it comes to offline events, I think the future is to make things less just like we're going across the country to play Street Fighter, or like, you know, we're going across the country to play these games. It's going to be like we're going across the country for a weekend that's like a celebration of all these universes. Like, I feel like Smash has done this the best because their majors are like, we only have like 2 or 3 games, but like there's so many vendors and like cool custom things and like fan meetups you can get in line to get a picture with Mango and stuff like that, and all these like cool different deals. It's like, go to the Geico booth and like show them your insurance card and they'll give you free stuff, and you're like, sick. And especially since I went to TwitchCon in 2019, I'm like, yeah, Smash is doing it right. They got the Red Bull booth. You go there, you hang out for an hour, you get a free Red Bull, and like they get to talk to you about products and stuff, and they get free product placement, and you get free Red Bull, and you're like, I just saved $4. Like, I'm down with hanging out for an hour,
Sure.
you know, and stuff like that. I want fighting game tournaments to be like, I don't know, they have to be more than they have to be more like conventions, and I think that would be really cool. Like, a lot of stuff with like Rick the Hado or being like Evo and Combo Breaker are gonna be bigger, and if they're more like, if they are end up being more like conventions, I think it'd be cool, because everyone has said, I've seen it all over Twitter where people are like, if you are under 21 years old, do not go to Evo. It's the worst experience of your life. You can't even walk in half the buildings because they're gonna card you at the door. And you know, like, if you're not 21, like, you have to get escorted past the ballroom into like the place where the tournament is, and like going to the Mandalay Bay and all these casinos and everything. It's like, it's Vegas, like, you know, Vegas, it's a cool tournament if you're like in your 20s or 30s, but like if you're like a 17-year-old kid that is really good at Street Fighter and you're like, I want to go to Evo, it's just like, it's a shitty experience for you. But if it's like way more I would honestly, this is gonna sound crazy, this might be a hot take, but like if Evo moved to like California and they put it in California and just was it at like the San Diego Convention Center and made it like some crazy giant celebration where like all the dev companies are there and you get to try out betas and like buy concept art and merch and stuff like that, and then you have like the grassroots vendors that are all just like indies, selling their like cool like that are indies and stuff like that. All that stuff is super cool, and you get to, you know, get to see all that, and it's like meet and greet for, you know, like whoever, like Justin Wong or whatever. Like, Justin's gonna be sit down for an hour and he's gonna sign pictures and stuff like that. And like, there are people that go out of their way already at events to do that. If it was more structured, it would probably be better. It would be really, really cool. Like, that's my hope for like big stuff. I think things will change a little bit more with online tournaments. The one thing I would like, and is already kind of happening, but I would like more, is for people to just respect the online scene a lot more. When I first started running Dragon Ball tournaments, this was pre-COVID online. I started running tournaments. Literally, like, half the reason was like I was playing with people that were some of the best Dragon Ball players in the fucking game at the time, and they played on PC, which was at the time the like stepsister or stepchild of like the Dragon Ball games. And these kids had nowhere to play. These people were out in like the middle of Ohio, and they're like, there's no local for 2 hours. And I'm like, I got you. I'm going to put you on display. People are going to know your name. People are going to see you in brackets winning stuff. Like, we're going to get boosts from the community and the growth, because people like watching tournaments in the scene. And I just would love for people to be like, oh, you're an online player, and like whatever that is, like, to stop being a thing. Because like, more often than not, there have been a lot of people that started out as online players that are now top class players. Like, Cloud 805 was an online Marvel 3 kid. Straight up was an online player in like the worst netcode a game has ever had ever.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like is now like a like top tier, like S tier player amongst fighting games. You know, like you got to respect the game. Like people will find their own way to grind. If they really want to get better, they'll either play online and figure it out, or they'll only play training mode and figure it out. Like, or they'll go to locals and figure it out. There is a grind for everyone in the scene. I just wish all aspects of it were kind of respected
Equally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, it's starting to... The scene wants to be kept grassroots. There's plenty of older people out in the crowd that want era of the arcade thing. And online is just a natural progression. I'm going to be completely honest. This might be a hot take. But if you want to keep things grassroots, shout out. If you want to keep things actually, open to the public, then like this online space is a place where anyone can just hop in and body some people, no matter where you are. And that's the interesting thing, because like, let's be real, not everyone can go to a local. Not everyone has a local to go to. Right? So unless if those resources get easier to access, or someone just makes a local in your area, not much you could do. And you want to play the game, you want to get good, play online. And don't let anyone take that away from you.
The one thing I will say that's like good from the COVID era is that a lot of things like Arc Revo, online tournament, and like I would like to see when like offline comes back in full force, like real this time. Like I would like there to be online qualifiers for Arc Revo, not and alongside offline qualifiers for Arc Revo, so that some kid that lives in Mexico or the DR or can't find a scene anywhere, and he's from like Akron, Ohio, I don't even know if there's a scene there, but like can win an online tournament and they will win a spot in Arc Revo. Sorry for whacking the mic, but like I think with all these games coming out with rollback and most of them doing pretty well with the rollback, like there's no excuse to leave these things out. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ has had online qualifiers for their Tenkaichi events, and that game's netcode sucks dick and balls at the same time. Like imagine a game back in the day like Killer Instinct that had it, or a game like even like Marvel Infinite that was played that had pretty good online stuff like that. Like a lot of stuff that things like Skullgirls is doing. If everyone did it, we'd be in a different scene. Like if their respect was given and people like treated things legitimately and companies accepted that their game can be played online and still do great things, the scene would change forever.
Absolutely, and I think for the better too. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Right,
but things are on the upcoming.
I think things are going in the right direction for sure.
Absolutely. All right, T. Well, it's been a blast. I think we're coming up on that time now. So, tGrass, why don't you tell the people back home, where can we find you? If there's anything exciting that you're doing for the future, events that you're running, stuff like that. You have the floor.
Okay. You can check out Guilty Grassroots, a Guilty Gear Strive PC tournament every Wednesday now at 7:45 Eastern. You can find any of that out through my Discord or my Twitter. My Twitter and TikTok are both at tGrass715. Everywhere else, you can just find me as tGrass, YouTube, Twitch, probably LinkedIn. I don't even know. You can find me anywhere there. Content stuff, the O2ish podcast. We want to do more stuff in 2022. We're off to a slow start for the year, but we still want a ton of stuff to happen. And I think we have some real hopes and to take things to the next level. Personally, for content, I'd like to say that I'd want to stream more. I'd like to say that. I don't know if I'm going to say that, but I'd like to say it. And I'm just trying to grind like TikTok a little bit, really grind YouTube, and taking myself into a different direction as a creator, and just kind of the vast knowledge that comes along with it, and just entertain more people. So if you're coming for the ride, if there's one social you want to check out for me, I'd appreciate it if it would be YouTube, because I'm very close to 1,000 subscribers at the time of recording this. So I'm hoping that 2022 is the year, and I want to thank everyone if you made it all the way through the episode for watching. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Go follow tGrass. I'm personally excited to see this new season content that'll be coming. And that is all tGrass has for us today. As always, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, especially leave a comment. And take care.